The story begins with the standing before the imposing architecture of her noble estate. A young woman named Hortensia fixes her gaze with unwavering determination, her resolve cutting through the air as she addresses her stunned family. With the sunlight catching her flowing dark hair, she announces her absolute intention to marry Lord Lancelot Granger the moment she turns 18. This declaration sends a shockwave through her relatives. Her father, mother, brother, and sister recoil in collective disbelief, their faces contorted with horror as if she has just volunteered for a death sentence. Her sister, cheeks flushed with incredulity, confirms the absurdity of the request, while her brother stammers that the man in question is no ordinary suitor. He reminds Hortensia that Lancelot Granger, regardless of his past, now carries the terrifying moniker of the Devil, a title that freezes the blood of those who hear it. Her mother, hands clasped in maternal worry, pleads with her daughter to reconsider, invoking Lancelot's awful reputation as a deterrent sufficient to scare away any sane prospective bride. Despite the familial panic, the matriarch insists that someone as sought after as Hortensia need not shackle herself to such a notorious figure, suggesting that her daughter remains fixated on a past event. Hortensia, however, remains unmoved by their logic, stating flatly that her mind is already made up and offering a polite but final apology to end the debate. Her brother, desperate to save her, reminds her that she has only a few months of freedom left, while her father attempts to calm the rising hysteria within the group. Isabella, a servant observing the scene with a knowing smile, notes internally that while Hortensia typically struggles to display emotion, her feelings for Lancelot break through her stoic mask. Resigning himself to her stubbornness, her father sighs and instructs the staff to dispatch a marriage proposal to the Empire immediately, interpreting Lancelot's terrible reputation as perhaps a twist of divine will. As the scene settles, Hortensia's inner thoughts reveal her true motivation. This marriage is not a whim, but a calculated move to finally repay a debt she owes him. The narrative shifts backward in time by a few months to the Altoide Empire, amidst the revelry of a grand ball. Outside the festivities, Lancelot Granger stands sentinel in the shadows, his imposing figure clad in a dark military uniform, avoiding the light and the social maneuvering occurring within. He is approached by a blonde nobleman, Leonardo, who teases him about his terrifying presence being enough to scare off any unwanted guests. Lancelot retorts dryly, but the banter is interrupted by Crown Prince Adrian, Lancelot's cousin and close friend, who questions why the heir to a marquis family is volunteering for guard duty on the final night of the ball. Lancelot, leaning against the stone wall with crossed arms, admits that the solitude suits him better, as his presence tends to frighten the ladies and he possesses no talent for flashy social gatherings. Adrian, however, presses the issue, pointing out the impropriety of leaving his fiancée, Lady Wilma, unattended at such an event. While Lancelot concedes the point, Adrian sighs at his friend's hopelessness regarding women, asking if Lancelot is truly unaware of how Wilma behaves at these parties. Lancelot, oblivious, claims he hears no gossip because people are too afraid to speak to him, prompting a shocked reaction from Adrian, who cannot believe Lancelot is unaware of the rumors surrounding his own engagement. Unable to stand by while his friend is mocked, Adrian decides to shatter Lancelot's ignorance. He acknowledges Lancelot's status as the guardian deity of the Empire, a man to whom the nation owes a debt beyond measure, but insists that as a childhood friend he must intervene. Adrian drags Lancelot through the corridors, stopping before a closed door where unmistakable sounds of intimacy emanate. Adrian bluntly identifies the woman inside as Lancelot's fiancée, forcing the stoic knight to confront the reality of his betrayal. Inside the room, Wilma laughs cruelly with her lover, unaware of the audience outside. She mocks Lancelot, referring to him as her cash cow and personal wallet, boasting that as long as she leaves no marks, she can continue to exploit his wealth for dresses and jewels while enjoying her affair. The revelation hits Lancelot not with sorrow, but with cold clarity. He finally understands the truth behind Leonardo's earlier insinuations. The scene transitions to a formal confrontation in a drawing room. Wilma's father, Count Odin, bows deeply in shame, apologizing profusely to Lancelot's father, Griffith Granger. The Count acknowledges the engagement is over, but Griffith, incandescent with rage, demands more than a simple breakup. He roars that Wilma committed adultery within the royal palace, in a room granted to the Granger family, kin to the royalty, and demands she be billed for every coin she wasted, along with extra compensation. Wilma, seated on a sofa, attempts to manipulate the narrative, shedding crocodile tears and claiming she only strayed because Lancelot left her lonely. Unmoved by her performance, Adrian steps in, reminding everyone of the facts. while Lancelot, tired of the drama, proposes a compromise. He offers to categorize the split as a dissolution rather than a broken engagement if they pay financial compensation, simply to end the headache. Griffith attempts to protest the leniency, but Lancelot insists, silencing the room with his desire to move on. Later, as the Granger party departs the capital on horseback, Lancelot's subordinates discuss the outcome. They note that while Count Odin agreed to pay massive damages, equivalent to 3 years of a count's income, Adrian refused to back down until the penalty was maximized. Lancelot, riding at the head of the column, feels a wave of relief wash over him. He cares nothing for the money. His only joy comes from being freed from the endless pressure of the fiancé hunt and the troublesome engagement. His thoughts are interrupted by a report that a subjugation unit is struggling in the great forest ahead. Instantly shifting from a weary noble to the Empire's guardian, Lancelot orders a change of course. His silver hawk corps descends upon the forest, cutting down monsters with ruthless efficiency as they push along the borderlands. Upon returning to his estate, Lancelot finds no rest. Even exhausted and covered in the grime of battle, he is immediately besieged by a storm of official duties, reviewing industry statuses, income expenses, and hiring staff. He resigns himself to an all-nighter, dismissing his meal to focus on the mountains of paperwork. Taking a brief respite, he visits his mother's bedside. She has been comatose from a mysterious illness for 2 years, and despite calling in every reputable doctor, her condition remains unchanged. He stands over her, expressing his helplessness and the disaster that his trip to the capital became, before quietly leaving the room. Meanwhile, the estate staff gossips about their master. Maids whisper that despite his prowess, Lancelot is terrible with women, citing his failed engagement as proof that he cannot handle personal relationships. Lancelot overhears this but internalizes the criticism, believing he should be capable of handling his family, work, and marriage without assistance, and chides himself for whining. His stoicism is challenged when his butler, Dugard, announces the arrival of Crown Prince Adrian, who is visibly fuming. Adrian storms in, demanding to know why Lancelot didn't follow his advice to crush Wilma completely. He reveals that ridiculous rumors are spreading rapidly, painting Lancelot as the villain. Adrian asserts that Wilma's meek act was a fabrication and that she is incapable of repentance. Adrian, sitting in Lancelot's office, explains the extent of the slander. After the dissolution, Wilma immediately married Leonardo and the pair began a coordinated smear campaign. They have inverted the truth, claiming Lancelot was the cheater who was dumped by Wilma. The rumors describe Lancelot as a silver-mad demon, who has slaughtered people since childhood, and a debauched drunkard who spends every night with prostitutes. Adrian, shaking with rage, vows to execute Wilma once he becomes emperor, but Lancelot remains strangely calm, merely surprised that the rumors have become so extravagant. Lancelot pragmatically notes that with such a reputation, finding a new fiancée is impossible, which secretly relieves him. However, Adrian cuts through Lancelot's resignation, revealing the true purpose of his visit. A marriage proposal has arrived from the kingdom of Salvador. Adrian details the rise of Salvador, a nation that recovered from a brutal succession struggle 10 years ago to become a wealthy, culturally advanced power under a skilled king. The proposal comes from House Barbera, a prestigious marquis family within that rising kingdom. Lancelot is baffled, asking why anyone would want the silver-mad demon, suspecting a mistake or a trap. Adrian reveals the catch. The bride-to-be, the marquis's second daughter, is widely known as damaged goods, implying she carries a stigma that matches Lancelot's own tarnished reputation. The narrative focus returns to Hortensia in her room, the moonlight casting long shadows across the floor. She clutches a letter, her heart pounding with a mixture of nervousness and resolve. She acknowledges the label of damaged goods, but views it as a tactical advantage, the very thing that allowed her to put herself forward as a wife for Lancelot. Far from believing the rumors of the silver-mad demon, she laments the injustice of the lies spread about him. Her internal monologue reveals a deep, pre-existing connection. She credits Lancelot as the one who gave her a heart. As she gazes out the window, her expression hardens into a vow. She pledges not only to make Lancelot happy but to exact vengeance on everyone who has made him suffer, her love fueling a dark determination to clear his name and destroy his enemies.